Hi there, Melody Moore here, CEO of Business Tech Ninjas. We do tech right, and today I'm here to talk to you about Learndash and Sensei. Learndash is a learning management system, as is Sensei. It essentially allows for you to have course content where people can mark items off as complete fundamentally. A lot of them have other features as well. Learndash and Sensei are not the only tools that can do this. However, Learndash is kind of the leaders in the WordPress space as far as LMSs go. We are in the process right now of looking at Sensei to be our preferred and recommended LMS system. In this video, I'm going to walk through why we've worked with Learndash for over 7 years now. It's been the one that we have recommended, but I've been looking for something else for quite a while. So I'm going to walk you through some of our pain points with Learndash right now, and also some of the things I'm really, really excited about with Sensei. And we're also going to create a course together, just very briefly and simply, to walk you through a little bit of the process, both on Learndash and then also Sensei, to show you the difference. First, a little bit of background history. We've worked with Learndash for quite a while. Background history, we manage high-end membership sites, 7 figures and above. A lot of them do depend on Learndash in order to deliver their course content. And a lot of our time is spent troubleshooting on Learndash. It is fairly well known that Learndash's code base is very, very heavy and puts a heavy strain on servers and websites. So oftentimes we have to upgrade servers or websites because Learndash puts such a strain on the site. We see this really commonly with any plugins or tools that were developed quite a while ago, because at that point, we just didn't know what we didn't know about how to develop well on WordPress. Additionally, some of the tools and skills that we have now were not available then. So with some of these older plugins, another big one is Visual Composer as well. We see that they're very bloated code bases, and the amount of money it would take to rebuild them usually just wouldn't make sense for those companies. So those companies just kind of do patchwork to make it work as much as they possibly can without really fixing the underlying problems. Now, what that leads to for us is I end up spending a lot of my time, or my team ends up spending a lot of their time, just troubleshooting things that just aren't working with Learndash. And I can't really point out to you and say, hey, it's this one thing, it's this, and that's what's the frustration. It's just a whole bunch of little things. It's a whole bunch of little needle points, not like one big punch in the balloon. It's like little points, little points. This doesn't work, that doesn't work. And it's just like, oh, why is this so hard? And so I've been looking for something better for a while, because fundamentally my job as CEO of Business Tech Ninjas and doing tech right is putting the best technical solutions in place for our clients. So it's like, I'm always on the lookout for, is there a better tool that can do this job down the road? And I believe I found that with Sensei. To give you a little bit of background on Sensei, it's built by Automatic, which are the people that build WordPress. And it's just really intuitive. On why I came to this, and Sensei's come across my desk a couple times now, but what really kind of pushed me to want to run with this recently was when we were investing a little bit more in our own training systems for team members, and then also for clients' team members, which is an experiential learning system. And I was building it out on Learndash and just was like frustrated. It was just hard. And I was like, gosh, like, oh, and I was like a little ping went off in my head. And it's like, well, hey, like, why don't you take another look at Sensei? It's also, I think, probably a form of procrastination, but that's a separate topic. And then I got into Sensei and I was like, this is just so easy to use. It's so intuitive. And then there's all these other features that I could use that Learndash doesn't even have. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So I got really excited about it, which led me to this video of why I'm making this for you right now as well. I think that I would put money, like I do like to go to Vegas and gamble a little bit. And if I could put money on it that Sensei over the next couple of years is really going to take over market share from Learndash, I would definitely put money on that. And we're going to be at the forefront with that, because even good technologies that we find, every good technology sometimes chews with its mouth open and sometimes snores at night. It's a matter of getting to know it well enough to know what those things are and know what those limitations are. I'm still in the honeymoon period a little bit with Sensei. So I'm thinking like, oh, this tool will do everything for me. This is going to be amazing. So we're going to be getting to know it. We have a couple projects in the works right now, one that's underway, and then also for our own of like, okay, hey, like how is this really going to work? Because all sales pages tell you that it's going to do everything that you want, but how you actually implement that is different. And with that, let's go into actually creating a course. So I'm going to walk you through, and you can skip through this section if you are familiar with Learndash. But for those of you that aren't familiar with Learndash, and maybe you're trying to make that understanding of like, oh, do I use Learndash or do I use Sensei? I don't know. This will give you a little bit of context on that of which would be a good option for you. So this is our my.business tech ninja site. Now I am committing a terrible faux pas with this site where I have two LMSs installed in the same domain. I would highly recommend you do not do this. I'm only doing it for our testing purposes, but it can certainly lead to some very problematic things. So FYI on that. We're going to start with Learndash, and we're going to go to courses, and we're going to set up a new course. Now, what I'm working on right now is for our new hires. One of the things that I want to do with our new hires in the hiring process is that when they first apply for a role with us, I want to give them a short 3-video course that will explain out to them, like, this is what we look for in team members. This is in order for us to get the best quality people into our systems that they can help us solve problems beautifully, honestly. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to go add new. I'm going to wait for it. Again, this is a little bit of a bloated site too, because we have a lot of duplicate duplicate things. So I'm going to call this. So this is going to be new team member applicant course. It's actually going to be an applicant course. It's going to be like working in the online world. Working in the online world. It's going to be a beautiful, great course to help you understand how to show up. Because like showing up on Zoom calls is a thing, how to show up on Zoom calls and work with tech effectively. So I've got my course here. Now, we have, because we also are running Membarium on this, we're going to have some other settings. So I just want to point out like kind of just where these different settings are on these different programs too. With Membarium, all the settings are still listed out here. You can use, this is the Gutenberg builder. You can use Elementor for this as well on Learndash. So it's not too dissimilar in that way. I'm going to save my draft. Always good to save. And then the way that they build it is you go into this builder over here, and then you would add like a new lesson. I can add a new lesson added. Oops. Oh, it was thinking before, that's why. So I can add a lesson, and it's what you need to know to get started. And then we can do making videos. And I'm probably not going to go through the whole process with you here because you probably have other things you want to do with your life other than watch me create all these. So I'm going to do a new topic here as well, just so you can show, like, you can see like the topics and then also the lessons as well. So making videos, installing Zoom, installing and using Zoom. It fascinates me that like we jump on, we have new team members and they have like no idea how to use Zoom, which I kind of get. Like my life, I live on Zoom every week, so it's hard for me to fathom people that don't get Zoom. But oftentimes team members don't, which I totally understand because it's like, why would they be on Zoom if not for this? But it still does make me laugh a little bit. So we've got our lessons and we've got our topics here. Now, one of the other things that we do use a lot is sections. So in really long programs, you want to have like section 1 or section 2, like everything you need to know about WordPress, and then everything you need to know about LMS. And I'm just doing one here just so you can see how that looks on Learndash for comparison's sake when we go over to Sensei after that. So you can put quizzes on Learndash on either lessons or topics. And then obviously there's a final quiz option here too. And then they have like different tags that you can put on different topics and then the quiz tags. They do also have this nice thing where you have like a library of your content and everything as well, which is a new feature that they've just recently come out with. I'm just going to show the edit option of what it looks like to actually edit a topic. Editing a topic and editing a lesson are honestly pretty much the same. It doesn't really matter, but just so you can kind of see that interface of like, okay, then you go to this page and you'd add your content on here, and then you can edit it with Elementor. You have your settings up here for if you want materials or video progression or assignment uploads, if there's a timer on it. And I don't think any of this other stuff really matters. If you want it to be enrollment based, specific based, this is more for the course grid functionality, which is an add-on for Learndash, which is an important point that we'll come back to a little bit later. I'm going to go back to my course here. They have an extended access. So the settings on Learndash are open, free, buy now, reoccurring, closed. We've had a lot of troubleshooting issues with these. I don't know, like we've got documentation on it and whatever else, but because we're also integrating with a third-party membership software, it does tend to make these a little bit more complicated about how to get the right permissions on them. So that's been a point of frustration, honestly, with using Learndash. Prerequisites, we don't use prerequisites too much. It's a helpful thing. Start and end date, course limit, course materials. I do like the course materials functionality. It makes it like on the main course page. And maybe we'll turn it on just so that you can see this. This is a thing. Just so that when I view the course so that you can see that. You can select certificates. So certificates are an option within Learndash as well. Exam show. You can just like see like some of the styling on this out of the box. Now, granted, I have a lot of plugins on this site, so it could be a conflict with one of my plugins on here too, but it is still kind of just frustrating that like things just don't show up correctly. An important setting that Learndash does have of whether it's linear or freeform. Linear means they must go through it in order. They can't skip lessons. Freeform means they can go through anything that they want to. And again, we have the course grid settings here. I'm going to publish this and let's just take a look at our course here. Publishing. I need like confetti or like Jeopardy music or something. Something, right? But don't have that. Next time I'll get that prepared, or maybe in post-production, we'll do something for that. So I'm gonna go view my course. So this is what it looks like out of the box. Now, keep in mind, if you are new to LMS, if you're new to WordPress, I am using, I believe, the Buddy Boss theme, I want to say, on this. So that's what's making a lot of the styling on this particular page. If I'd put an image here, there'd be a big image up here and then a smaller image over here. This other functionality is kind of out of the box, but it will depend very, very highly on the theme that you use, not necessarily just Learndash. That's an important thing to take note of. One thing I'll point out, they have the course and materials thing, so you can put all the materials here. We do tend to see that people miss this an awful lot though too. So it's like, I don't know, you want to include it other places too. And let's just like go through the actual experience of going through a course to see like the difference between Learndash and then Sensei as well, because we'll do the same thing with Sensei. So we have this left-hand sidebar over here. Now, I guess it was a couple years ago, Learndash released distraction-free mode. You can, I believe, make it so that it's not distraction-free mode. Distraction-free mode basically just makes it so that there's no navigation on the site. So if I go back, you see I have navigation here and over here. So the distraction-free mode essentially takes away all of that and is just like, hey, course content, which I think from a learning perspective makes a lot more sense and you would want to do. So that is good. But I'll show you what Sensei does because I actually kind of like what they do a little bit more. One of the big things that we found challenging from a user experience perception or standpoint with Learndash, and we've used some custom code to alleviate this, is this mark complete button gets lost a lot of the time. People miss it all the time. And so we will oftentimes replace up this in progress button with the mark complete, but it does require custom code. And anytime you custom code something, there's a little bit of risk there. So it's like, I don't love having to do that, honestly. I would prefer that it just worked well right out of the box. Like most things, I want to use tools that work well right out of the box because there's always going to be some level of stuff that we have to figure out. But if the fundamental things can work out of the box, that's by far a lot better. So I'm not going to get too much deeper in this. Feel free to comment in the video if more questions about how Learndash works specifically, because I do want to chat about Sensei. So we're going to go out of here. I'm going to go back to WordPress, and then we're going to do a course through Sensei. Again, Japanese music. So we've got Sensei LMS. I'm going to go to courses. And there's just like, there's so much more I want to take you into on this. It's so hard for me to stay focused because there's so many wonderful things that I've discovered about this tool that I really, really want to get into. So I'm going to go new course. I feel like with Sensei, it's like a whole world of options is opened up for me. And I've been like using Learndash for so long, being told like, oh, you can't do this and you can't do this. And if it's an extra plugin and it doesn't really work. But like Sensei's like opened up a whole world of possibilities of cool things I can do. So this one's going to be, I forget what my course title was. What was my course title? Working in the online world. Okay, working in the so completely different experience right off the bat, I'd like to point out. So working in the online world. So right off the bat, it prompts me to do the thing right away, which I think leads a lot less to error, because I'm also thinking in my mind, like we work with clients and we want to empower them to be able to go in and add their own course content and add all of their own stuff into these videos. And the less user-friendly it is, the more frustrated they are with us and the more we have to support them just with like basic stuff because it doesn't have a great user experience. And I like this user experience so much more because it prompts you right away to say, what's your course title? And then what's the description? Getting started with Business Tech Ninjas. Now, right off the bat, and it's loading in a second, they give you an option to have different stylings for each course. With Learndash, I'm limited because I can either have distraction free across the entire site or I can not. It's like an on or off button. But with Sensei, and I'm, again, things I want to dig into, I'm pretty sure I can come up with like my own. I don't really love any one of these three. I do love the choice though. I love that there are options, and I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be able to add my own into here as time goes on for what I want those courses to look like. For the time being, I find that their default works pretty well. Now, right off the bat, very different layout, whereas Learndash kind of gave you a back end and then it like puts everything over there and then you have to go and see what it looks like. This is more of a visual builder and where I can see what it's going to look like right off the bat. And I love that they're already deeply integrating AI into their stuff. Now, Learndash is dabbling in this too, to give them credit where credit is due. But I think that Sensei is doing a bit more. I haven't played around with this personally, but I think it's cool. And it's nice to have that option. So I'm just going to go with the blank canvas here. And very different experience again. Previously with Learndash, we had to go into another screen and then use their builder to go in and create these courses and create all the lessons. I can just go into it right here and I could say getting started with BTN, understanding. It's just like, it just feels so much more intuitive to me of like how I'm working it and how I'm going through this. Understanding, showing up on Zoom calls. And in this training, I will show how to have a fabulous background like you see here. Showing up on Zoom calls and the tech mindset. And now if you want to, there is the option to, so you can add a module or add a lesson. And I'm still getting used to this, to be fair. I want to add, so this is all, how do I do topics again? I forget now. So I think if I want to add another one, I just press enter here. But I believe they do have a topic functionality that you can do as well, but I'm not entirely sure how to do it. So you've got lessons or you've got modules. So a module, so they might not have 3 layers deep. I'm not 100% sure on that. But nonetheless, I think the 2 layers works for most things anyways. And sometimes the 3 layers with LearnDash makes things a little bit more complicated. So I might say like part 2 here. And this again is just to show like a good comparison between this and LearnDash. How to do tech right. Because there is a right and wrong way to do tech, believe me. Module name. So I think this probably update this to module name, part 2. So, oh, this is cool, right? Part 2. And then maybe this is the sub part. This is where we get in the weeds. So I don't have to leave this screen in order to publish my course. So I could publish it right from here. And they even have like pricing built into this too. LearnDash does as well. It's just like all of the settings are just in really random, like you have to really go and find things. Whereas I've found that with Sensei, like even like the certificates right here, the featured image, the course categories, like the things that I need to know just seem to be a lot clearer as far as where they are in the overall settings functionality, which you kind of have to go and like dig things up when you're working with LearnDash. It's funny that the LearnDash course grid still shows up on this too. So I would save this draft. And then we want to add content potentially to this program. So you go here and it should have like a little edit option. Might take a second. Select course outline, lesson, drag, move down. Let's see if I can try this one. I think it's still publishing or saving the draft or whatever. Again, this is where I need fabulous music to fill in the blanks so I don't have to talk your ear off. Uh, let's try that again. This could also be related to me having 2 LMSs on the same site, which again is a no-no. So now it does show up. You can go edit lesson. I like doing it in a new tab, not a new window, a new tab. Not that it matters too much. Just so I like personal preference. I like having the main window open and then opening in a new tab. This is also why I have a tab addiction though. I end up with a lot of different tabs and then people get judgy on my tab addiction. I'm like, hey, that's my to-do list and I need it. I'm going to use that tab at some point in time if the page ever loads, assuming, right? While that's doing, because, if something's not loading, the best thing to help with that is by trying to load something else at the same time, right? That's going to work out well for me. Let's find out. Nope, neither one of them's loading. While we're waiting for this, some of the other cool things that I found with Sensei is they have, and I'm hoping that, I don't want to spoil it for you because it's pretty exciting when you see the different options there. They do have this other thing, which is like tutor.ai, and I haven't delved into it too much at this point in time, but my understanding of what it's going to do is that it will enable your participants, your students, to have a conversation with an AI to test their knowledge within the content. And our goal right now is creating an experiential learning process to help people to better implement technology because most people don't do it very well and it breaks all the time. And a lot of that is experiential. Like people need to go in and try things and understand stuff and be tested on their knowledge. And courses, or sorry, quizzes can be a little bit flat, even though very helpful. And I'm really excited about that intuitive, that AI functionality to chat people through the content. So this one, so it took my lesson topic, my lesson name here, and then this is cool. Like LearnDash doesn't have anything like for this right now. They have Sensei allows you to have this default lesson, and then you can have a discussion question thing that they have to complete. Cool beans. You can have a video lesson and then like flashcards, which I think is a really good way to like get people to actually understand it, because with the clients that we work with, they genuinely want to get their people to understand the content that they're going through. So it's like, how can you help people to consume the content? And I think flashcards are really helpful. And then they have a lesson with quizzes, a task list, which I think is so cool. When we wanted to do a task list within LearnDash, then yeah, you can do that. It's just another add-on. We'd get Gravity Forms, then we do a Gravity Form integration to LearnDash. And then the setup and then the room for error of that is just painful, shall we say. Good point on quizzes though, too, is that people can also submit things for review and for grading. One of the things that we do internally with our experiential learning system when we're teaching people how to do tech well is they have to submit them actually completing campaigns and completing web pages. I review it and then grade them on it, and they have to get at least a 98% on it in order to pass. Hey, I've got a high level of excellence that I want people to strive for. So I think it's cool to be able to grade them so that they can see. Side note. We've got a Zoom meeting. I don't understand how that thing works, but I think it's cool. And then a timed quiz, self-explanatory. You have a certain amount of time to take it. And then you have to download files, which I also think is really helpful. Like before, like, I mean, again, you can do all of these things with LearnDash. There's nothing here that you can't necessarily do with LearnDash. It's just harder. It's not set up for you out of the box in the same way that this is, which is why I like it so much, because it's like, how easy is it for me to get my team to be able to do this and then to be able to get clients to do it too, because we don't want to build systems out that they constantly have to coming back to us to be able to do everything. It's like we want to build it so that you can use it and run with us and come back and we'll work on the cool stuff together of the things that are like maybe a little bit trickier or harder to figure out, or if you run into a roadblock or something. I want to try this like flashcard thing. I haven't played around with this yet. Oh, uh-oh, this isn't good. Attempt block. Oh, it worked. What is quality tech work? And then we flip the card. Quality means it should do the job it's supposed to do. And it should not break things in the future. I wonder if you can do multiples of them. I assume you can. What happens if you do this? Oh, that's me flipping the card. Duplicate? No, not duplicate. Think you maybe select cover. Oh, you can select a different cover. What's that do? No idea. One of the other things that it wasn't on there for some reason, but I saw it in one of their tutorials, was to be able to take an image and have like image hotspots. Now, granted, you can do that with Elementor out of the box too. I like that I don't have to use Elementor on this though too, because Elementor, as much as I love it, is also a weight on the site and makes your pages load slower just because it has to load more stuff. So I like that like this out of the box can be done within Gutenberg. And I'm also not surprised that a company that's owned by Automatic would want to make it easy to do on Gutenberg specifically. And like you even have like all the like the course, so you have the different sections here. So I don't even have to do that. I just have to press this. And then I can add another flashcard here too. That's just kind of cool. Um, let's take a look at our course, because I think this is going a bit long by this point in time. Thank you for watching this entire video. Hey, if you've zoomed through some parts, it's okay. I understand. Most of my friends listen to things at 2x speed. I already speak really quickly though. So if you are listening to this on 2x speed, good on you. Oh wait, I know I didn't mean to do that. Go back, go back. I have so much regret right now. Stop, stop. This is why you shouldn't multitask, by the way. But like, where's the fun in that? Like really, multitasking, it's like a challenge. It's like when you have your groceries at your car and you're like, ooh, there's 6 bags. Should I take 2 trips? No, 1 trip. I am superhuman. I do not need to take 2 trips to get these groceries in. So fun. But then occasionally you drop stuff and that's less fun. Oh, RIP strawberries. You lived a good life. You did. You think this is ever going to load? One, I think we need to talk about maybe making our server a little bit heavier so that it can handle the load speed on this potentially. But it will load eventually, but it's called like a custom. So it's interesting here. It hasn't done the permalink. I think that's because I'm still have it in draft mode though. I didn't actually publish either one of them at this point in time. But I would like it to overall load quicker. Page load speed's a pet peeve. Raise your hand if page load speed's a pet peeve. Probably is if you've been working in tech for any period or amount of time. Eventually. Come on, you can do it. If I was better at this, I would probably pause this recording so you don't have to listen to me kill time while this page loads, and then stop it and then start it again. But then again, post-production is a beautiful thing where we could probably edit this out, I imagine. I'm a little concerned this won't load though. Let's just publish it and see if that helps. I feel like so much of tech is just like, hey, try this, see if that'll make it work better, see if that'll make it work better. And I think one of the big things that makes it hard for people to understand tech is that they want it to like be perfect right off the bat. And the funniest thing is this assumption that young people are somehow better with tech than the older generation. And I think it's actually the opposite. For one specific reason is that young people are used to things working a little bit better. Whereas I grew up with mom, get off the phone. I'm trying to talk to my friends. And then having to like troubleshoot all sorts of things of like why it won't work because we had to work with such subpar technology most of the time. And the new generation is just like lives a life of luxury where things just generally work for them right off the bat. And I think that's made them less good at troubleshooting and fixing problems, which is part of the reason why we have our experiential learning system at Business Tech Ninjas to help people to understand technology a little bit better, which is, why we're here today. If this ever loads, which, it's not looking very good right now at this point in time. While we're waiting for that, why don't we explore some other options cool things you can do with Sensei, assuming that it is actually going to load. That's not good. We got a little Cloudflare issue. Let's go back into here. So one of the things that I saw in the settings of Sensei was that it does like a course order, which I think could get complicated if you have a lot of courses in your system. So a lot of our clients, like it's not like they just have one list of courses. They have multiple different membership levels that all kind of use the same courses. So it's like that might be a bit tricky to be able to handle, but not like the end of the world, I wouldn't say though, too. I like that it does have that functionality, and that we can potentially do it. Oh, come on. I'm going to show you another one because I have been working on a couple other courses with Sensei as well, which I think are going to be great eventually, when things load, assuming, right? I don't know if this is going to load. We might have to come back to this another day and show you what the Sensei course looks like. So there'll be a part 2 of this potentially. Let's see if we can get this to open up. Good old Cloudflare. Something's not working on our host. I think it might also be because I had it in draft mode and then published it at the same time. It's like a little bit of that like false negatives that you get as you're working through technology of like just the things of you try to solve a problem, but then there's unintended results as you're trying to solve said problem as well, of just it like not working potentially, which is always just a little bit frustrating, I have to admit. All right, I do not think that this is going to load correctly, unfortunately. We will be making more videos on Sensei in general. Their website of like how the user experience is of like going through their courses is quite good. So I'd recommend going ahead and doing that. I don't think that they have a free version, but granted, I don't think that Learndash does either, honestly. Overall, like the user experience, like I think if you go in and you try to create a course with either one of them, no matter what your experience is, it's a lot more user friendly to do it through Sensei than it is through Learndash. As I said at the beginning of the video, I just don't know what I don't know right now about how it chews with its mouth open and maybe snores at night. So we're still kind of getting to know it about what its limitations are, because there's always limitations with any software that we use. It's just a matter of figuring those out and understanding like, hey, is this an okay trade-off for what it is that we're working for on this particular tool? And with that, if you need any help choosing an LMS or growing your membership site, then you can reach out to us at Business Tech Ninjas. Be sure to sign up for Melody's Mind, my weekly-ish email of cool tech that I'm really excited about and things that will make your life better and your business better and to run it with ease. Have a fabulous rest of your day, and thank you for coming on this beautiful LMS journey with me.